Boom, baby, we're live. It's your boy MLD, and I'm here with my good friend Paul from Apex Mindset. Younger women's attraction to older men. There's an article and a trend we've noticed that's happening out here. It's not what you think it is, but it's good news for everybody involved. We're gonna jump right into it, and stay tuned because we're gonna show you, especially because a lot of guys who, first of all, I don't believe in the term older guy until, like, I don't know, maybe you're 55 and older. Okay. But a lot of guys just mentally check out and think that they can't do anything in the dating market just because of their age. Like there's some kind of leper, after the age of 40, you gotta jump off a building. Allegedly. So we're gonna show you guys how that's not the case, and we're gonna back it up with science and data. As you know, I have my bachelor's degree in psychology. And then Paul also is very well versed. You have your degree in
psychology
as well. So
yep,
we're gonna cover a lot today, and don't turn away because we're gonna go live right now.
Connection established.
Make money, make muscles, learn game, hold frame. It starts with learning dating, and then you move on to something else to push humanity forward. That is the philosophy of modern life dating.
I am teaching you how to be strong. I am teaching you how to be powerful. So when bad things happen to you, you don't quit.
Okay, because you don't know how.
Because you don't know.
No, if I'm not going to explain to myself.
In normal conversation where people aren't sitting around and patronizing you because you're loud and obnoxious, and a lot of people don't want to confront you and tell you that. But I'll tell you that right now, young lady. You're very loud and obnoxious and you're rude.
You wanted to blow it up and make me seem like something I'm not, and I didn't appreciate that. But that's okay. You can do what you want to do for your content.
Oh boy, somebody's triggered.
And
She's triggered.
No, Adam sent me a clip.
You should want a woman that you can build with.
She can build me a sandwich.
My man,
it's common sense in every other country in the god world, but here you got to get out of god Venn diagram and be like, hey, don't post half-naked photos of yourself because you're gonna attract predators.
All right. What up, everybody? So, Paul, thank you for being on the show today, sir.
Yo, you're welcome.
Long time no content. When was the last time we did something?
I don't know. It's a few months ago. Wasn't it before Christmas? I feel like it was.
It's almost 6 months ago. It's half a year ago.
Too long. That's what it is. Too long. We have too much fun, dude. That's why.
Paul is doing amazing things with his free Skool community. It has over 600 people in there. I am in awe that he's, been able to do that. It's a lot of people, man. And you want to tell people what you do in there? Because you want to catch me up to speed too? Because I just saw 600 people and I was like, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So my thought is that, we struggle with some of the censorship stuff like this. We're going to get some good engagement hopefully with this video, but it's going to be censored for sure. Like there's a level of censorship that happens, and unless you are a crazy person where it's like you're so divisive and out of your mind and presenting this really divisive type of a paradigm when it comes to men and women, that gets attention because nobody's going to take those people seriously when it comes to actioning things in your life. But when you say things that are contrary to what kind of some feminist ideology might say, it's seen as threatening, especially if you say it in a way that's backed up with science and says, hey, you can go take action in your life and get these results, that's seen as a little bit more threatening, and it can cause things like YouTube channels to get flagged a little bit, and you can have to struggle through trying to get engagement. Sometimes the shadow ban thing is a real thing. Talking to a lot of experts about that, and it is a true thing. You can kind of fight through it video by video, but it is something that, you know, we have to be aware of. So my thing is, why let YouTube control your brain by telling you what you're going to watch in your regular feed? Why not get into a community where you can get problems solved directly and stuff, have conversations with other men who are taking action, get some accountability in your life, and, you know, control the kind of content and control the stuff that you are consuming? Like, are you going to let big tech tell you what you need to hear through your news feed? Is because that's what it is, right? You log on to YouTube and they're feeding you what information based on your searches, but also based on what they want to feed you. You got to look at it that way. And it's like, you want to unplug from that stuff and think for yourself. You need to be a bit more intentional and mindful about what stuff that you're consuming. And so going into my community for free, it allows people to ask advice, post field reports, situations, struggles, goals, whatever it is. I'm not charging them any money. They can go to my classroom. There's accountability sheets because I'm action oriented. I want people to take action. They can take that for free. Another thing is, a big thing for me, what got me into this was men taking themselves out of the gene pool over girls. And I saw that in the military. What people don't understand is that guys take themselves out after with some PTSD and some struggles after deployments. There's a feeling of low value, but usually the last straw, you know, the last thing to go is their relationships. So some girl's situation is behind almost every single, you know, taking unaliving of yourself, right? That happens in the military world. Like, soldiers and guys coming back, you know, that the rate of guys taking themselves out is so high for veterans. And what nobody is talking about is, I've been to a lot of funerals. Almost every case, there's a broken relationship behind it. And that was the thing that was usually the straw to break the camel's back. That's usually like the last thing to go. And so in dealing with that, I have in the community a free course that tells you how to recover from breakups, recover from broken situations. And it's all there for free. You know, you don't have to pay for it. Just go there and be a member, and don't be an idiot and get yourself kicked out, right? Or so posting something weird, and you have it for free, because I want guys to be able to at least get to a place where they, you know, can understand, like, just because things aren't going well right now, that doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever if you put some work into it, you know? And so just an opportunity for people to make changes, you know what I mean? Without having to go through YouTube, go through social media to do it. So that's the community. And you know, you guys can feel that.
It is a real thing. Yeah. The community, and it's in the description box for you in your channel, on your box, the Skool community. Yeah. And then after coming back from my Alex Hormozi event, you know, I could definitely get on board with Skool, especially after meeting the fountain, like, guy who's definitely heavily invested with them. He doesn't round the way he run numbers. So Skool is doing a good job. But yeah, it's I think what guys, so the biggest thing that I know is, to get things going in your life, you need to take action, and you need someone to coach you. You're not going to figure it out on your own.
Right.
There's no field of life where you go and figure it out on your own and do okay. When you go to the gym, you'll do way better if you start off with a personal trainer, period. Okay. Right. When you go learn how to fight, you don't like watch UFC moves on your phone, and then you're like, okay, like, I got this. You know, you're going to go to the gym and get crushed, right? And it's be funny. It'll be like a guy like me crushing you too. A lot of these guys coming in often. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's true though.
When you want to lose weight, when you want to get a job, they don't like, okay, all right, I've got your resume. You're in desk 16. You start Monday, just get at it. You know, you get trained. A tough person comes and teaches you. And the thing is, my shift, listen, my big shift, because I've been meeting all these people in the communities lately, right, Paul?
Mhm.
And my biggest shift is after meeting so many guys, I can tell you that you guys are all overestimating your game ability, overestimating your fighting ability. You're overestimating a lot of things, and then they're underestimating in other areas. And they just don't have a proper good gauge of their strengths, their weaknesses, and how they can save time without making mistakes. You know, mentorship is just is the shortcut. It is the most efficient way to get anything done in life. Period. The guys who are like, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. Mostly they don't, and then they never push themselves as hard if you have someone else pushing you from the outside, watching you, who's already accomplished what you want as well. There's so much nuance to it, and just to be very honest, like, you know, just to be very transparent, the majority of guys I've met are just terrible with women, and that's okay if you're trying to figure out. But they like, I'm talking a 95% majority of men that I meet are just very bad with women.
Oh yeah. And it's the thing is, it's confusing to guys because there's certain things that are natural, but also trainable, right? So like, for example, speech. We all learn how to talk like as we're kids or whatever. And it's a natural thing that's part of being a human being. However, if you're going to be a public speaker, if you're going to, you know, deliver presentations, there's a level of training that you put into that in order to do well. One of the things that I'd done on the civilian side, you know, when I first gotten off of military, was I was a sales trainer. I was training people at Berkshire Hathaway in real estate offices that were struggling, and I would go in there and I'd teach them how to sell. And because I was very good at that because of my persuasion skills from my background. So it's, you know, there's training involved, even though talking to others is a natural skill. So people get confused. They think, well, you know, you're just going to like meet a girl and, you know, be in a relationship, and that's cool, right? Like that's a natural thing to do. Yeah, it's natural, but you have such poor social conditioning that we've all been exposed to, myself included. Even as an older man, I had poor social conditioning growing up. So like, and it's worse now for young men. So you're conditioned to do horribly in your relationships, and the numbers show it. Most relationships are, I would consider, a failure. You know, though, when you consider happiness rates past 8 years, it's only like 13.5% that are considered even happy, and then it's only 6% that are considered like blissful and problem free. Most of those relationships are breaking up before they hit long-term status because we're really not wired towards it. It doesn't mean it's not advantageous to be in a long-term relationship. I think that's one of the most advantageous things a guy can do when he gets older, but it's also, you know, it's just not necessarily part of our natural wiring. And so we are not wired for it, and we are not being socially conditioned for good relationships. None of us. So we have to actually learn skills in relationships. And as men, that's our responsibility because we're leading the relationship. So if we want it to go anywhere, we can't rely on the girl to take it there. We have to do it. And so if guys are not getting training somehow and how to do that, good fucking luck, you know. F-bomb early already. Good luck though, you know what I'm saying? Like, good luck. You're
Forget
not
about it.
right. You're not, it's like your retirement plan is winning the lottery. Well, stupid, right? Like, no, learn some skills, and it's not hard to learn the skills. You just gotta put your mind to it and learn some things. It's kind of like going to the gym. It's not hard to learn how to do the gym, but it does help to learn some things about it, you know.
Guys need to, I think what's happening right now, I think from what I've been observing, right, the dating field is starting to level out. It is the beginning of the leveling out. And a big part of that is a good portion of guys are just checking out. The incel movement, the black pill movement, the MGTOW movement, all the basically don't take action to fix your life, but don't participate either, guys. They have simping is going down. I know you probably don't do this, but I keep up with a lot of Chinese news, and this is happening in China as well. Guys are spending less money on sugar babies and stuff now. Now they're investing money into personal training, physical fitness, self-development. And because I think simping is to a degree kind of run its course. I mean, it's always going to be there. Don't get me wrong. It's always going to be there. But the abundance of simping that we have is going down. This is 100% due to the masculine movement that we have helped lead the way, which is why we're shadow banned. But that's okay, because this is my legacy, and I'm happy, man. We've changed the culture. We have changed the culture, and it's getting better. I believe in the upward trajectory. I know everybody in our space likes to doom and gloom because their life's been doom and gloom because they don't get pussy like us.
Yeah, right. That's kind of true. Yeah.
But they never understand like how the degenerate kind of maverick guy who just blazes his own path is really attractive to women. It's just the attitude that comes with it, and I'm looking at everything from an international perspective too, because in the last calendar year I have dated in Bangkok, I have dated in Philippines, dated in Hawaii, Japan, and America, coast to coast as well in America. Been meeting some nice ladies everywhere, and it's the number one. Actually, let me ask you something. You're gonna be my first my data testing point on this. In your opinion, this is just my opinion, okay? But in your opinion, right now, what do you think is the number one thing girls are filtering for in America? I have my own personal conclusion on this, and then we'll tie this into the younger women, what they desire, and older men.
Number one thing they're filtering for. When you say filtering, do you mean like on dating apps or
in men in general, and not height. I'm talking like.
Right. I just want to know.
Because I know the first thing is 6 foot tall. I know. They're all retarded. They're so retarded.
Right. Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't pay attention to what they say as much as so there's a difference between revealed preferences versus stated preferences, right? Mm-hmm. And so they might state a preference and that they're probably going to say confidence and success as part of their stated preference. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that confidence and success aren't attractive. They are. But what it boils down to is how they feel when they're interacting with that guy. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. That's really what it boils down to. And so all of the things that you bring to the table, so to speak, can add up to that feeling. If you're a successful guy, you take care of yourself, you look good, you look the part, right? Like that can obviously add to what her feelings are going to be like. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to interact with her in such a way that inspires attraction, or it's just not going to go anywhere. And so that's, that's really whether they know it or not, that is the thing that they are, that's the revealed preference, is how do they feel with that guy, because they're always going to give a list of things that when asked, they have to try to rationalize after the fact why they banged the guys they banged. And they're going to go like, well, height and success. And, he made me laugh and he was confident and whatever. They're going to come up with stuff. And some of those things might have some truth to it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what she feels like. And that's it. That's really what it boils down to. That's my thoughts. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I was thinking, I agree with you. It's definitely, that's the number one thing game is, which a lot of guys, game is such a nebulous term too. I'm going to write a book, by the way, this year on money muscles, game frame, and defining it. That is the goal.
Good.
This year, with the help of Aaron Clary, after I hung out with him in Las Vegas. So we're going to have the Bible of the Hot Dude Army will be written in my blood. No. But the number one thing a guy needs to know is you have to elicit good feelings out of a woman. She can only get these good feelings when she is with you. And it's not a gimmick. It's not like, you are like, oh, I'm gonna like, the puppet master, and I'm gonna manipulate this girl with your magic powers.
Right.
It's not like that. It's just you have become the man that that naturally makes women feel this way. You become the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
You become confident. You have boundaries. You have developed a personality. A lot of guys don't have. A lot of guys think I need to be tall, good looking, and have money, and then girls will like me. But if you don't have a personality, she's gonna get bored of you real quick.
Yeah.
You need to be a person of depth, a person that is an interesting person, and these things take time. And that's why I think because the younger guys now are, I mean, dude, these kids are bad. These Zoomer kids are down bad. Some of these kids don't even have their driver's license, and like until like they're 24, 25.
Right, which is so crazy.
You know,
I mean, that's just crazy.
but going back to my original statement, the number one thing that I have noticed personally is, and it's gonna be crass, but women are just filtering for a guy who is not a pussy, because there are so many fucking pussy ass guys out there, and these girls can sense it, and they're like viscerally disgusted by you. That's the fastest way to get your girl to cheat on you, in my opinion, is if you start being a pussy with no backbone, and she could see other people bullying you and manipulating you around her. She's not going to feel safe, and she's going to start to be like on a genetic level disgusted with you. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the biggest wild card that guys have nowadays that they don't even know that they have. They can tap into being a masculine guy and understanding what masculinity is, and bringing that dominance and that leadership and that confidence that masculinity represents to the dating game and to their interactions with women. They're going to have an edge over everybody, regardless of what their age is. The reason why young guys, I think, have it harder than a guy of my age right now is because of they're not socially conditioned to be masculine. That's really the reason. They don't know what it means to be masculine. A lot of them didn't grow up with good, strong father figures, didn't grow up with dads at all. And then the whole social conditioning that they've grown up with is to be this supplicating, feelings oriented person who is led by their feelings. And as soon as I say that, it's like somebody wants to say, oh, like toxic masculinity doesn't want to recognize feelings. Look, as well as anybody else who knows me, man, that I do a lot to process trauma and process bad feelings in my clients, right? And that include, mostly who are men. So I'm not saying that feelings aren't important for men, but you're not being led by them. That's the difference. It's your feelings are not the most important part of the equation when you're making decisions, interacting with others, and doing what's taking action, doing what's best for yourself, leading. In fact, your feelings usually will take a back seat if you're in a leadership position, so you can make good decisions. You can process those things later. But men grew up with this concept that their feelings are the truth, and the feelings are everything, and the feelings are what's the most important. And that is a female way of thinking. No offense to the ladies here, but that's what it is. And so they show up like women, and they don't, even if they talk like a guy, even if they have a physical appearance like a guy, right? Like even if they actually do things to work out or whatever, it could be even an athlete or whatever, right? But then they're showing up with their feelings and their emotions leading their decisions. And girls feel that, and they don't trust it. They know how erratic emotions are. And they don't trust this guy's male leadership because he doesn't have emotional self-control. And so yeah, it's the biggest thing you can bring to the table really right now is just learning how to be a masculine version of yourself, like a masculine, positive masculinity, and having that positive identity as a man and as a leader, and having that confidence. It doesn't matter your age. The reason why women are dating upward, and they've always done that, but the reason why, like in a lot of cases, there's women who would just prefer a guy 10 years or plus or older, because they're so sick and tired of their peers their 25-year-old peers or whatever who don't have any direction and don't have a masculine frame. And they can't explain it. They're just like, I just feel drawn to this guy, you know? And so,
it's just because this is what I've been talking about. When a guy gets older, okay, it's not like women are attracted to older guys. It's just that this guy stands out and he just happens to be older because he's a guy who has been taking his life seriously, not just drinking beer every weekend at the bar or drinking beer every night at home and then, you know, going to concerts and clubs on the weekend. And then, you know, your life is just like a slow grind versus a guy who's like, you know, in his 30s, he's like, you know, I just really just no more ROI for me to be drinking booze anymore. And he just focuses on, you know, his hobbies. So he has a personality, but he focuses on his finances. I think that's huge. Guys, as a man, it's your destiny to become somewhat of a master with money. We are the providers of society. Like you look at a man and woman, like who's the provider? You're gonna look at the man. And if the man is like your character in life, like a video game character, why would you not want to max out the money stats, or at least try to get up to the top, you know, percentages, which is really easy to do with the internet and scalability these days. You know, it's up to you to, you know, kind of like this word kind of got muddled out lately with all the tradcon shit, but like, you know, having traditional values, you know, for me, I just handle anytime I'm with a girl that I'm dating with her, you know, I'll pay for the Uber, the food, whatever, just handle business, you know, just, you got to be able to lead. And, it's just what a mess with these young guys. So it's just, I don't think it's like an older thing. I just think older guys are standing out now because these young kids don't really have their shit together. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and there is an element here though. So like some things to think about too. And I came across this, I want to mention because I get people of all age categories working with me. And to include a guy, I mean, I've had a couple of guys in their 70s come to me, you know what I'm saying? And so like, but I have guys in their early 20s, you know, so I have everybody of all age categories. Right. And there seems to be like a guy will come to me after maybe a divorce or after, you know, having something break up. And he's like in his late 30s, early to mid 40s. And he's like, oh man, like, I'm like, I don't know, a girl's going to even be attracted to me. And it's like, what? You know what I mean? You serious right now? Right. And the reason why is there's this social conditioning that says that if you're a middle-aged man, might as well jump off a bridge. You know, you got nothing to offer anybody. Don't even talk to a girl ever. You don't talk to a younger girl. In fact, saddle yourself with some lady who's got a few kids from a different dad. And that's, you know, take care of her because that's the life that you must lead now because, you know, you have no value now as an older man. And it's like, that's not true, really. That's stuff that broken women on Twitter say. You know what I mean?
Let's get some definitions out here real quick so we can label this and go because I feel like we're gonna have a good show. Shout out to Griffmeister on Rumble who bought a gifted membership on there, and then Believe in Yourself on YouTube. Thank you guys. Yeah, if you guys want to help, the memberships do help with the algorithm. I made some cheap ones. I made some other ones as well. There are multiple tiers. If you want to support the channel and keep this kind of content going, you know, it is literally 100% supported by viewers like you. So, thank you guys for everything. We've built something great here together. So shout out to you, Brio, up in Tokyo. Good morning, Tokyo. Just popping off. I mean, it's not, well, yeah, you're waking up late, buddy. You got to wake up early like the Japanese and get at it. Paul, what is an older guy? What is an older guy?
Yeah, I would consider an older guy by society definition anyone who's over 40. You know what I'm saying?
Really? In America, yeah. I feel like they're more prejudiced. I think after 35 for guys.
Yeah.
You know.
You can say, you know, I would say like between 35 and 40, you're approaching, you know, middle age. And then after 40 is like the classic midlife crisis for dudes. You know what I mean? Like we're 30 is the girl's midlife crisis. She doesn't know it, but that's her epiphany years. Like, oh my God, I'm 30. I don't have any kids yet. I don't have any prospects. Blah, you know, and as a girl, you know, and as a girl approaches 30, she starts thinking about that stuff and dreading 30. And it's like a big birthday for most women. And for guys that tends to be 40, you know, it's like a guy who's married and his wife hasn't touched him in 9 months. He starts to approach 40 and he's like, oh my God, like I'm going to be 40 and I have this miserable life. Like, and then they freak out, you know, and they're like, they just blow up their relationship or just sleep with their secretary or something, or start getting a porn addiction or whatever. Like they just lose it, you know? And so I would say after 40 is kind of where people consider you not a young man anymore. We'll put it like that. You know what I mean? Although it's cute when I run into a 80-year-old that calls me a young man at 47.
You're 47?
Yeah, bro.
You're like 42 or something.
No, I just that's my dashing good looks.
It is,
which is a big fat joke.
You're a stud.
I do all right.
Well,
you know,
two girls gassing each other up in the comments on Instagram. Oh,
no,
slay.
you're cute. Oh, oh, it's funny. But yeah, here's the thing. Like my looks have, my looks have declined by classic looks over the past 10 years. And it has done nothing to harm my relationship prospects, my dating prospects. I'm in a long-term relationship with a very hot girl. You guys want those receipts? Just hop on Instagram. You'll see, and you'll be like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Like, and people get mad about that. Young guys get mad about that. They try to insult my girl in a comment, or they'll try to, try to talk crap or whatever. Oh, you're just paying for it. Blah. And it's like, but I'm not. But I'm not though. I'm not just forking out money to get women. I don't have to. You know what I mean?
No matter what. Like when I first came to Japan, it was like I always got girls, right? Mm-hmm. And not like the bottom feeding gaijin hunter like dregs of society, like like some serious hot Japanese babes. And it was like, oh, it's only because you're a foreigner. It's only because you're a foreigner. It's only because you're a foreigner, right? And then now they got a bigger target. Now they're like, oh, it's only because you got clout. Oh, it's only because you got money. It's never I could be a great guy. It can never be a phenomenal person, well developed, gone to therapy, done reflections on life, optimized, God looks younger as I get older. No, none of those things. It's the money and the fame.
Right.
They always have some kind of disqualifier because in their mind, they don't understand how it's possible just to be an amazing quality human. And then, oh, look at that. Girls are drawn to it because the average person, what I think a lot of guys don't understand is the average guy is like a very unself-aware, negative mess. Like, oh, I fucking hate my boss. Blah, I fucking,
Yeah.
Like, and on top of that, he has no frame. He's not a leader. So I understand why American women in general, like just look at all men. And if you don't really physically stand out with like, above average, height, or you're super, super jacked, you just kind of blend in with everybody else. If you don't stand out, if you don't have good fashion, if you don't speak well, but if it's just from a visual test, and because they're just so like jaded with armies of betas and weak men with no backbone. So they're just like, it's a defense mechanism for them. They're like, okay, idiot number 748. What do you got to say? So that's why when they run up on us, they got that shit going. Then they just lose. They're like, "Oh damn! I thought this guy was some fucking, some dude, and now here I am in love with him and his dog."
Right. Well, and it's it goes like there's the dark secret about this. This is kind of my video on this I did recently. What people want to know, what's the reason? What's a big reason? Like it must be money or daddy issues. They assume, oh, a girl's dating a guy 20 years younger or something. It's money or it's daddy issues. Either he's paying for it or she's got some kind of dysfunction. Nope, it's not. You know what it is? Here's the secret. It's the sex. That's the secret. The secret is it's the sex. Most of these girls are having a shitty time in the bedroom with guys their own age. The statistics prove it.
I
You know
wasn't
what I
ready for the
mean?
conversation to shift this direction, but I like where we're going.
I just shifted it. Well, yes,
go
because
ahead.
I want to cut to the. And here's the thing: there's a study. Let me see if I can pull it real quick.
Yeah, drop it.
what-
I'll share it.
Yeah, one really interesting evolutionary psychologist named Mack and Murphy. I like him.
Mhm. That's another thing guys think they're really good at. I always say this: guys think they're better at 3 things than they actually are: fighting, fucking, and picking up girls. There's the 3 things that they all suck at.
Oh yeah, and the reason they suck at those things is because they are unwilling to face their inadequacies to get
Mhm.
better. That's the biggest reason. Most guys avoid learning how to fight because they would rather have the illusion of thinking that they can fight. All right, instead of going and getting training and figuring it out. You know what I mean? And this in the crazy thing about it is 40 to 80 hours of training will put a guy in the top 10% or even top 5% of being able to fight. It's not that much time. It's training the right material. So not some, nonsense martial art thing that doesn't work, but training some skills that'll work, and putting them into some scenarios, learning how to hit, learning how to handle some grappling. In 40 to 80 hours, you'll be better than like 95% of everybody else. You won't necessarily you won't necessarily beat a trained UFC fighter with just that training, but that's not who you're up against. You know what I mean? That's a point, 0.001% of the population, right? There's millions of people out there. Most of them can't fight. You'll put yourself above all of them to where fighting skill isn't going to be the problem if you lose. We'll put it like that. It'll be because they had more people, or you were just unaware and stupid and got hit with a bottle when you weren't looking, or something crazy will happen, right? It won't be because your fighting skills with just 40 to 80 hours of training. Same thing with picking up on girls. Same thing.
One of my party years with all those scenarios you're talking about.
Right. Right. I'm just mentioning that. Right. And so, so the thing is with sex and with, dating, it's the same thing. It really just takes a little bit of education and humility that goes a long way. But since the biggest existential threat to a man is that he can't defend himself and can get overpowered, or that he's not, he has no mate value. So those are 2 of the biggest things, the third being that he has no significance.
So is that related to this? Because I saw like there's a table of why they cheat. Is that what you're going to, or no?
Well, no. So this is stated versus revealed preferences. Now, when you go into, being a good lover, which basically means being good at sex, right? That was listed at a number like 11 or 12 or something like that as a stated preference. So things like loyalty and honesty and stuff, whatever, were put first. And they have the list there. It's going to be, it'd be a lot to go through on the stream, but the guys have the link and stuff. They can look at it. And so they're, that's what they stated. They stated basically good in the bedroom, which was stated, worded as being a good lover. Was somewhere in the teens as level of importance. Revealed preference, though, was number 1. So that means that the reason they cheated or stayed with somebody, whether that was a cheating partner or their current partner, was because of sex. If the sex was good, that was more of a motivation for them to stay, even though they don't want to necessarily admit it to themselves or state that. All right. And so that's what that is finding out. So sex is really important. Being satisfied in the bedroom is really important. It's not just what it translates in the bedroom, but it's what it means for outside the bedroom as well, because all of your bonding neurochemicals are ignited during the act of sex. A girl is bonded through oxytocin and beta endorphins over a long period of time, but the oxytocin rush that she gets after the dopamine rush from getting to it, and then the serotonin and oxytocin she gets afterwards, makes her feel a deeper level of bond with a guy. So if the sex is really, out of this world for her, she's going to have deeper bonding neurochemical reaction in her brain. And so sex becomes a major component to how a girl desires a guy and feels about a guy. And so, and that's something that nobody's talking about. Well, here's the thing. ask, a girl is going and sleeping with older guys a lot of times because of the part of the attraction is experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say experience, what kind of experience are you talking about? When you look at articles, interviews, like, well, a guy's they'll say he's more mature, more wisdom, and he has more experience. What are we talking about? More experience? Are we talking about more experience at, cooking food? What do we mean? More experience at, making cold calls? Like, what do we mean? Right. We're talking about dating, right? Which means we're talking about hooking up and sex. More experience is fucking, guys, fucking. They're not
really
saying it. They're not saying that as a stated preference. What do you mean by more experience? A lot of girls would be like, "Whoa," they would say something else other than sex. But when you look at the research, the reason they might cheat or stay with a guy is sex. That's a number one reason. I'm going to make this argument that the reason that they are, from revealed preferences, the reason that they're going with older guys is because the older guys know how to make her feel better in the bedroom. They have more experience. They're not as, lacking in confidence in some of those areas, provided that, and most guys, even older guys, have working equipment, normal to good levels of testosterones, in good shape. They know what they're doing probably in the bedroom better than a guy who's in his 20s who doesn't have very much experience and who has a lot of emotional difficulty because he didn't grow up with a solid masculine figure in his life, and he doesn't have a lot of confidence and all those things. It's just the younger guys, if we're looking statistically, not individually, because I'm sure there's some individual younger guys who are masculine and can, really do a number on a girl, but it's, but it's like, they're the outliers though. They're not the norm. The norm is a guy who doesn't know what he's doing and trying to figure it out. And guess what? A girl doesn't want to be the freaking guinea pig for some guy to fool around and figure out how to take a bra off. Like, you know what I mean? She wants a guy to be able to dominate in the bedroom.
This is a good question too. What do you think this is?
Is it technique in the bedroom, or is it just her being into you? I think that it is mostly psychological in her being into you, but because how many different ways are you going to put your thingy in her thingy? Like, we're getting a little technical here. It's not really that. And when she likes you, she helps you.
We can't show you on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's it. I'll call my girl in here. Get in here. We got to do a live stream.
We can't show you on YouTube.
My computer. No, but no, but it's like there is an element of technique, but that technique is more psychologically based. Like a guy not being in a hurry, a guy being able to be not so into his sensation work, because a lot of guys get really self-conscious and all those things, which means they're putting their attention inward instead of putting their attention outward and seeing how she's feeling. Like, you can tell when a girl is responding positively or less positively when you're doing stuff to her in the bedroom, and you can make the more positive experience, if you're paying attention. A lot of guys have no awareness there because they don't have that confidence. They're too into their own heads. And so I think that the technique translates to the psychological experience and things and framework that you have outside of the bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think when they're few people can relate to this, but for you guys at home, a woman's interest can be so high in a man that as soon as you put it inside her, she'll have an orgasm. Like, that is very possible. That's not a fairy tale thing. But again, the number one problem I notice, what do you think is the number one, if you were to look at a guy's average dating life, right? Where would you think is the one place that if you fixed it, he would have an overall better dating experience?
I would say the one place, because they're tied together. I would say his persuasion skills and his outer game that is rooted into his inner game. If that makes any sense. So, because they're connected together, you can't really separate the two, which is why, I'm an expert in persuasion skills and helping people connect with others, but I'm also, that's helped me become an expert in inner game, also, you know what I mean? And the psychological aspects, because we're what did I say?
You guys do more shows together. 45 minutes in. We're this is the plan, guys. We're gonna be doing. You know, I was gonna ask Aaron to do a podcast with us, and I was gonna call it 2.5 White Men. But yeah, we're gonna be doing more content because we realized the thing about me and Paul and our brands is we're actually the only two people who from the original like Rule Zero OG crew who were coaching guys to get better dating.
Right.
You said inner game and seduction and persuasion. I agree with you, but I still think the number one thing a guy can do to increase the quality, the average guy can start doing right now is just increase the frequency of women you talk to every day. Talk to 10 women a day.
Yeah, well, that breaks it down even further. Yeah, I'd say.
Just talk to 10 women a day. Just like you drink a glass of water every day. It doesn't need to be creepy. It doesn't matter the age range, whatever. Just be a light in someone's life. Like, hey, I flirt with old women all the time, bro. Old white women. I love it because they're so friendly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, and so even taking it to an easier level for guys who, you know, find that intimidating, just talk to 10 people. Just talk to people. Well, here's why. Because it starts there. If you can say something to a stranger, whether it's an old lady or even guy that you're checking you out at the pharmacy or something, right? Or the grocery store or, you know, the waitress or whatever, and you ask her how her day's doing or whatever. It starts there. And then you can a guy will realize, wait, when I say hi to somebody or ask a question or ask them how they're doing or say something about the weather, whatever, I generally get a positive response from most people, men or women. And so I don't need to be afraid now to talk to girls. And so I'm talking in a week, they can take that into talking to 10 girls. You know what I mean?
Look, this right here, this guy, Tony Blaney, this is tired advice. Community needs fresh content. I guarantee you, I bet my life on it. This guy doesn't talk to 10 girls a day. This guy's grouchy because he's not getting pussy, and he wants that new fresh content. You need fresh advice. No, sir. No, you're not talking to girls. Paul, I don't want to give my guys an out. You need to talk to 10 girls a day because these dudes, because listen, now I've been coaching some older guys, right? Guys, a little bit 41, 42, 43, 40, still stuck in their ways. When I tell them, okay, you need to talk to, how many girls are you talking to a month? 1 to 2. Good luck. You're going to be single forever.
Yeah, right. No, that's
mathematically, you're not. Luck aside, you know, a lot of guys don't think that they're going to end up alone, and they are, because, you know, we make fun of for every cat lady alone is some dude that's alone too.
Right. Yeah. No, there's 3 dudes alone for every cat lady. It seems like, you know what I mean? And that's it. And these girls, I mean, guys can say, oh yeah, obviously, but they're not doing it. Well, if we look at evidence of the numbers, which is girls aren't getting approached. Girls aren't having guys talk to them. Now
actually, there's data on that. I think this guy just booked both of us. Is your name Tristan? I just got a notification from a Tristan. I just emailed you, buddy. Paul will get to you, but thank you. But yeah, there's a study that they said women want to be cold approached more now. Yeah. I've been cold approaching. So I've been cold approaching in Hawaii and Vegas so far, and I've had nothing. I've had surprisingly above average reactions from gorgeous women too.
You've seen me cold approach in Miami.
Yes. You know, and age is not. It's
wow.
It's just a skill set, right? That's what I tell you. Like the hallmark is like the hallmark. You are like you got the championship belt as a player. Is if you can cold approach a girl on the street and then she falls in love with you and she does your bidding. Like that's real G shit. Not Tinder, not online. No sugar baby who you converted, no prostitute that you think you gamed. Like, I'm gaming this prostitute. She orgasms every time. You know, I've heard it all. I've heard it all.
Right.
But if you can catch a girl in the wild, snatch her up, and she's willingly and down for you, congratulations, you're a top tier playboy. And it takes a lot of skill to do that, you know?
Right. And you know, it takes a lot of skill to do it and to also improve the quality too. That's another thing that, you know, we focus on. It's not just, it starts with talking to random girls and getting random dates, but then you want to be able to challenge yourself as well, to be able to talk to the higher level, higher caliber, which means getting yourself into better social circles to see how this all translates. Getting into better social circles. Well, how do you do that? Well, you're more active socially in areas where people are successful, which means now you're circulating, you're around also other men who are successful, which means that you're now working on your success as well. So you can be in those, because those social circles will stimulate your success. Like it's a compounding effect of success in a number of areas of your life. And it started with talking to 10 girls. You know, but if you don't think like, and no offense to pickup artists, because some of them are very good, but if you don't think like that what you typically would think of a pickup artist, where it's just like, I'm sleeping with drunk sixes on Fridays and Saturdays at the end of the bar. If you take it to a level that's higher than that, then what happens is you're going to get rejected more at first, and you're going to have to challenge yourself. But you don't meet higher caliber girls at the bar at 2 a.m. because she lost her ride and she's drunk. You meet higher caliber girls in social situations where higher caliber people hang out. Do you know what I mean? And people who are successful, people who are doing things with their life, people who have good values, you know what I mean? You get invited to those parties, you go to that charity group or that meeting or that thing, and that's where you meet these people. You have to challenge yourself to get in those social circles, because those girls aren't on dating apps and they're not drunk at the bar waiting for you to pick them up. You have to actually challenge yourself a little bit differently. And a lot
of guys have to liquor themselves up to go talk to a girl. They say like, oh, you know, all I got to do is get a couple drinks in me. Then I'm like, you know, Mr. Charming. And it's like, no, you're not. You're substance dependent.
Right. And you think really, you are. Yeah. Because
you think the guy, but your inhibitions are low. So you try more. So therefore you have more success. That's my philosophy. You know, to get good at something, you have to do it a bunch of times. And one of the number one thing that guys tell me is like, I see a pretty girl, I feel attracted to her, but I'm just such a pussy and I don't talk to her. That's why when cold approach is like, when you walk up to a girl who's a stranger and you talk to her, she's gonna be like, damn, this guy's, at some point she's gonna be like, this guy's brave. Like, right. You know what I mean?
Well,
versus, well, like, am I safe to talk to her? Is it, is this societally okay at this very moment? You know?
Yeah. Well, this is why these guys, another strange pivot. I'll be good at strange pivots tonight, pivots into things. Another strange pivot. This is why dudes, the lack of confidence and their lack of ability to stare rejection or failure in the face and overcome it is why guys act creepy to girls online and send over their dicks. They send pictures of their dicks and they ask for nudes, all that crap. Why are they doing that with a girl they've never met before? Why are they and the reason why is it's this psychological subconscious thing of, oh, please accept my penis before I meet you and potentially have to show you in person and then have you reject it. You know what I mean? It's like they want to be accepted sexually, and as indicated by the girl sending a nude photo or them sending their dick over before they actually meet up, so that they can get rid of that, potential rejection risk. And it comes off as so weak and sad. You know what I mean? How many high value guys are like, here's my dick, except for guys like who are Democrats with problems. You know what I mean? You get caught doing that all the time. But how many normal, not pedophile?
Don't make it political. Don't make it political.
I'm just thinking of Andrew Weiner and those types. How many? Unless they're Epstein Island types.
I'm just laughing because it's true. It's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
But let's dissect this real quick. So what this is the cause of. So this is the after effect of the whole feminist Me Too, all men are rapists shit that's been going on since like the 1980s, quite frankly. Remember in the 80s when they started playing those 60-minute things about, oh, if he's a man, don't leave him near your child. He might rape him, And it's like,
What?
that's not on the top of like
No.
99% of men's to-do lists.
No,
It's not
right.
on their list at all. Real quick, I want to catch up on some super chats. Siege D, Woo Apex Mindset on your channel. Thank you. Siege D says Woo MLT, my channel. Thank you so much. Believe in Yourself gifted one membership, and then Austin Wright on your channel with the donation. Guys, if you want to get your question highlighted and answered by us while we are talking about what is attraction, why this is happening, why older men are, I would say older men are to a degree are starting to outperform younger men right now.
Right.
And the reason going back to that now is because the whole Me Too movement, men are terrified of women now. There's a study here because I was using some, I have some data about this because I'm just realizing how cold approach is in untapped gold mine in America right now.
Oh, totally.
It's an
Guys
untapped
just cold
gold mine.
approaching and being masculine. Like
Yes.
right now,
You'd
it's
be
like just
surprised.
look at market, right? Like you're a market guy. You know more about investing than I do. What do? Do you buy something when everyone else has bought it and it's overblown, or do you buy something when it's undersold, right? Like when it's when it's at a low. Right now, cold approach is at a low,
Yes.
which is why you will be more successful if you go do it. You're gonna get exponentially better results today. Maybe 5 years from now or 3 years from now, guys figure it out and are out there, and you're not getting as good of results. You know what I mean? But right now, today, if you go, it's a down market, and you're gonna do much better even than you think, for sure.
No,
Yeah.
dude, there's no doubt in my mind because I see this in Japan too. I see it. It's a global thing. The global pussification of men has succeeded. So if you're ready to get out of it, that's what I'm telling you, guys, right now in Asia too, girls, because things are shaky, the economy is not booming in most places. Most people are going through kind of transitory phase right now. They don't feel safe. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you're beta with money. She is going to eventually filter out, are you a real G? Are you like, if shit goes down, are you going to hold frame, or are you going to freak out like a woman and lose your mind and just be like another victim in the road like the average man is? They are craving strength, and they will share strength. They are once they see what they get a feeling like no other with you, these women will move mountains to be with you. Period. You could go to jail. You could go across the world. They will figure out a way to keep a place in their heart open for you at all times. And it happens. It happens no matter the age. This is some stuff I want to talk about real quick because older guys too, right? They didn't have the luxury of dating apps and stuff. So they're used to doing cold approach. It's not even called cold approach to the older guy. It's just living a damn life. I see an attractive woman, I'm going to go talk to her. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was, and I am a bit older, and better.
I like this study stuff here real quick.
Yeah.
Because, study finds 45% of younger men never approached a girl. Okay. So here's the problem with everybody who says looks, money, status is all you need. Cold approach is the great facilitator of game development because it teaches you how to approach, how to have small talk. Because if you match with a girl on a dating app, but you're socially awkward and you don't talk to people and you don't have any game practice, you're like a programmer, an engineer, you're in a cubicle all day, you think you're a social person, you think you have game, and then you show up and you're like this social retard. And then you wonder, why did all the girls run away from you? That's a big reason why. It's these social skills that are severely underdeveloped in younger guys. And the only way to develop them is by going through an awkward developmental phase. There is no way around it. The only way through it is through it. You got to go through it. You got to become. Either you do it and you ascend, become the next level man. You've done it. Congratulations. Welcome to the other side. There's a lot of girls here waiting for you. Or you just stay at that same position in your life, and you're just there forever, and you're just trapped in this like middle earth hell where all the hot girls really aren't there, because you're going to match up with girls who also aren't like living up to their potential and going to the next level. So another thing is this too. I want to show you this. Yeah, this is something. A study by Pew Research found that 65% of young men worry that approaching a woman in public could be seen as inappropriate. That's the fallout from the feminist movement.
Me Too stuff, right?
Me Too stuff. That's 100% it. But it doesn't matter because it's not real, unless you're like completely socially uncalibrated. So then another thing is this. They did I have a series of studies here. So women, this is put out. I don't have the exact study, but I have a quote from X, and it's here. And women, they want to be approached more by men. Let me see. Yeah, 77% of women 18 to 30 say they wish they were approached more. 77%. So when you look at a girl, there's a 77% chance that she's going to be happy that you're talking to her.
Yep. These girls are bored and lonely.
Yes. And,
and
self-destructing.
And self-destructing on their phones. Yeah, 100%. And if you can just get them to put their phone down and ignite something, any kind of sort of emotion, you know what I mean? That's halfway decent. It's like, oh my gosh, right? Like, wow. And it's crazy the ways these young guys will meet girls and without any guidance, like they'll show up around in a social situation where there's a girl and they won't talk to the girl, but they'll be around the girl. And then they'll go, okay, cool. Then they'll get home and then they'll stalk the girl on social media. And then they'll send a friend.
Don't make it uncomfortable.
then after the friend, they'll start to heart and like pictures or whatever. Then they'll drop in the girl's DM, and now the girls are so like, if she thought the guy was cute, she might reply. But it's like then they'll attempt this online sort of texting situationship for weeks.
Yeah.
Before they even get, and they don't even know how to get the girl on a normal date. They don't know how to even build rapport. They haven't had the girl reveal anything about her private life that she wouldn't just share normally with anybody else.
Do you know how the Instagram flirting, like how girls suss you out on Instagram, like without losing face?
I don't. I don't know. All I know is this: when my students, or when I was doing it, of course, I have my girlfriend now, so I don't DM girls, but when my students do it, they do it in such a way where they get responses within a few messages where the girl is sharing something privately about themselves, not necessarily deep, dark secrets, just something a little bit more private that they wouldn't share with a stranger, which immediately puts them into a different category within the beginning of a conversation. So it's an attention getting opener that sort of, and a lot of times they'll open on the public page. This is something I'll recommend, is just comment directly on the public thing. You know what I mean? And then get a heart or something like that before, and then see if you can initiate a response
on
there.
her what? On her
Instagram,
on her story, or the photo, or the reel, or what?
Yeah, like for everybody else to see. So whatever it is, you know what I mean? Any of it. And the reason why is because it shows you're not necessarily commenting something sexual, and I'm not talking about simping for her either. Not like
nothing
whatever,
sexual.
nothing like that, but just kind of like something observational or humorous or a question or whatever, because it demonstrates maximum confidence. You know what I mean? And so it demonstrates a lot of confidence to be able to do that. And what you're doing it is you're doing it in a way that everybody else isn't. Do you know what I mean? So like everybody else has their little thing that they're saying, but what you say is a little bit different, and it's designed, you do it in such a way where it elicits a response. And then when you get that response, then you can drop in a DM and then continue, you get a response there. Then you fire a question. Within a few exchanges, you're getting her to share something. Maybe it's something about her dog and her love for animals, or maybe it's something about the hobby that she was whatever, but it's more, you know, maybe it's something about how she feels about something, but it's something she would share with somebody she's in more of a personal relationship with than a stranger. And once you do that, you now have rapport and you can have some conversation that can branch into a meetup. But that's online stuff, right? I mean, it's not my, I prefer just being able to do that cold in front of a girl. The results are even better because when you approach a girl and talk to her, she doesn't have the distraction of 100 other guys in her DMs and on her page or whatever. She has to address you. You're in front of her. So when you say something to her, open her, and she responds, and then you start a conversation, she has to, you're the foremost in her attention. And because guys don't do that anymore, it's an elevated level of attention now. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's actually easier now to strike into a deeper rapport versus the safety of doing it online. So like your results really, when you have the skill to do it and the confidence to do it, is really can be 10x in person. Really,
let me show you. I'm going to show you this. So that's the in-game stuff. I'm going to show you how they flirt on Instagram too, because I think you'll find this interesting. All right. So I prepped this for you. All right. So this is how this is the girl's Instagram. Okay. And this is the guy's Instagram. Okay. And then this is the story is S. And then the C is other content, reels, pictures, carousels, whatever. Right. So I have noticed a girl first thing, what they'll do is they won't follow you. Okay. But she'll send out a little like on either your story or she will like on your content. All right. And then she'll wait. And then what she's waiting for you to do is to reciprocate one of those things and or raise. Okay. So then you can just click like on content. Okay. And then if she comes back and then she likes another piece of your content, and then maybe you like it back. And then the next thing, maybe she'll write a comment, right? That's how you know this is like a little dance that they do.
Sure,
and
it's
then,
push pull with Instagram.
right. And then
Yeah.
you can, she'll typically finally raise by following you. Or if she likes you, she will follow or she will DM. Right. But that's how you know you're in the money here. And then also, if this is going back, you could always just cash in your chips. But I say play it smart and play it long. Let her be more invested first. And then you shoot her a DM. And then that's where it goes down in the DM right there.
I like the drawing. That's pretty cool. Well, so some notes on that, though, some observations on that, really important, which I know you train your guys to do this, which is you need to, and it's what I kind of call high value game. And so like guys who have no trouble approaching and who are doing shit in life, right? So they're not just online all the time. I coach them to have a Instagram that makes them look high value. So they have high value photos and they have stuff that a theme of their Instagram that makes them look like they're the kind of person that a girl should want to hang out with, that they have resources, they do cool shit and their life is interesting. And then they don't have to do a lot of work. They have that stuff. And then that's when they'll get girls to heart or like their stuff. And then, you know what I mean? Girls only initiate on a guy who's got an Instagram that makes him look like he's an attractive guy. And so that's how that operates. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to necessarily drop in girls like DMs per se until they initiate, because you're busy. If you're a busy guy, you're busy out in social circles and you're talking to plenty of girls in person. And so now when they initiate with their like or their thing and their follow and you reciprocate and you do this push pull, it's just an addition to what you're already doing. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is when you meet these girls in person, then like if a girl meets you in person and then she goes to your Instagram, she immediately knows you're a high value guy. Like immediately, right? Like your Instagram is impeccable. So like when she goes to spy on you, as they all will do, she goes to your social media to see if you're like some loser or not. And then she goes like, holy crap, Like this guy has a lot of
Guy actually
followers. He's got pictures of him doing all this cool crap. It's like, oh, I'm actually a bit blown away right now. And I'm not even, now I'm intimidated, you know, that's kind of how that works.
This guy BS profile writes that would it be only on recent posts? Honestly, there's another way that they sub communicate is like the further down your post that she clicks a like, she's letting you know, like, I'm checking you out. You know, I've had this happen with me with Russian girls, white girls, Asian girls. This is an international, because women are sneaky, bro. Like, women are fucking, let's be honest. The women are fucking devious as hell. They're devious as hell. So don't act like you're some fucking angel. That's why, you know, when they play these little slick games and then they're like, oh, I didn't get your text message. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks. thanks for catching me up to speed. But the more that they are doing this is better. It doesn't matter if it's recent post or not. And trust me, if she likes you, she's checking your recent posts, she's checking your latest posts. You know, one of these girls I used to date made me a bunch of albums, like scrapbooks, right? And I kept them. They're nice. They're like, you know, they look nostalgic for me. And you know, another girl found them before. She got so jealous, so she wanted me to throw them away. I was like, no, I'm not gonna throw away like memories of my life, right? Just, and it's like in a closet hidden. It's not like, you know, there's a shrine to the girl here or anything. And she then went and made an album for me. And then I broke up with that girl, and then another girl came and made an album. So like when they're interested in you guys, you're gonna see a whole different side of women when they're genuinely interested in you. And you're not going to be like these guys online who are like so hate filled and like talking shit about women all the time, because like they never seen this on other than like whipping out the checkbook, or they've never really experienced genuine desire. So they're like, oh, you know, all the women are trash. Like when I look at all these memes, like, you know, like I'm the dopey husband meme, and they have like hundreds of thousands of likes, that shit pisses me off so bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, you guys are buffoon idiots. You know, like, oh, I'm just a bumbling fool. Ha ha. My wife controls me.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the average guy. That's the average guy. And that's the average woman's experience too, is dealing with one of these bumbling fools. You know what I mean? But when you elevate above that, when you focus on, because dude, look, I'm 39. I look great. I don't care what anybody says. I look fantastic. And I look better as the years go on because I take care of myself. I you know, I'm fucking moisturized. I go to the gym. You know, I take care of my skin. I prioritize my mental health. You know, you don't have to, like, I always say this now lately. You know what I've been saying, Paul? Not eating is free, guys. Like, just shut your fucking mouths and stop eating so much. Not eating is free. Right. Not eating is a free hobby everybody should get involved in, quite frankly. Because, you know, you guys are huge. Like when I go, like in Japan, right? In Japan, you know, I'm not like super shredded because Japanese people are just way more slender. I'm way more physically larger in a muscular way. But in Japan, people can be like, oh, you know, you could lose a little bit of weight. When I go back to America, people are like, you look great. Like, you look fantastic. You know, what's your plan? And I'm like, just not woofing down $30 meals off of fucking Uber Eats, you imbecile. I just get so mad, you know, but it's like, it's so, the bar is so low. And I think that's why, because guys, people are just underperforming so hard. Like women are just widening their array of search. They're widening their demographics, and they always have. But I just think guys, older guys are just standing out because they're just, you know, another thing is this too, guys. What you're doing right now is going to compound. So if you're just getting a little fat now, you're going to get a lot fat later. If you're getting just a little rich now, you're going to get a lot rich later. If you're slowly losing weight and building muscle now, you're going to be way more jacked later if you stay on the plan and optimize. But next thing you know, 40 hits you like a ton of bricks, and you're like, oh, I'm fucking fat and poor and bald, and what happened in my life? I thought I was an alpha male. And then now you got a whole mess you got to fucking undo. Get on your job now and stay on it. There is no diet time. There is no grind time. Every day's diet day. Every day's gym day. Every day's grind day. There is no fucking day off, little boys. And like, this is the man talk you gentlemen need, because it's up to you. Everything in society that fucking sucks with women is 100% on guys' fault. 100%. To blame a woman is like to blame your dog for shitting on the floor. It's just like, it's just your dog shitting on the floor. You know, you're the boss. You're the one that's got to handle this shit. Why don't you train your dog? Why don't you fucking, you know, it's a terrible way to frame women, but you know what I'm fucking saying, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
No offense to any women or dogs.
But you belong on a leash. That's what we're trying to say. No, I was kidding. I'm joking. But yeah, well, I mean, it's true though, because you have selection like too. So if a girl's not a good girl, select a different one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if she needs, you know, some time and little bit of attention for self-improvement, then you lead her in that direction. If she's not capable of being led in that direction, you let her go. You know, it's pretty much a simple part of the equation, but guys they're just not sure how to do that. And I think one of the biggest problems we have now, I think, with a lot of guys is that they think they know shit. I think that's the biggest problem because of the red pill movement, because of the manosphere. There's been a lot of content out there. And of course, a lot of people ripping each other off and saying the same stuff. Some of that stuff useful, some of that stuff not useful at all. And guys will listen to it, which is okay to listen to stuff that's good, but then they think they know. And they're not getting any different results though in their life. So they're kind of checking out, thinking, well, I've heard that already. Oh, like the guy in the comments, like, oh yeah, tell me something new, you know, talk to women. All right, but why are so many guys not doing it, right? So like there's like they think they know, but here's the problem.
They don't.
They don't, because there's a difference between knowledge and skill. And so those are two different things. I can read about shooting. I can become an expert at talking about shooting online because I read all the gun magazines and online forums and instructional manuals. And I learn, you know, reading specs about different firearms. I could regurgitate all different kinds of rates of fire and all kinds of stuff regarding different weapon systems and all that, and be that cool guy, and then not know how to fucking shoot because I don't go to the range and I don't practice the skills. Yes. Knowing information and skills are two different things. There's a abundance of information. Half of it's wrong. So they don't know how do you know what's wrong? Well, you know, because you go out and you learn skills and you apply those skills. And when you run into stuff that says, wait a second, all that stuff that those guys are saying online, that's not really true. Yeah, okay. That's how you know those people are talking shit and they don't know what they're talking about. And the guys that do know what they're talking about, that's going to match up with the results you're getting because you're applying those skill sets, you see. And that's where that's the missing piece. Knowing about stuff isn't the same as actually doing the skill sets and actually knowing how to do stuff. And that's what they get in coaching, right? I mean, that's when they take a program. It's not just YouTube all over again. Hopefully not. Mm-hmm. There's accountability and there's applying those skill sets into their lives. And you have to do that. You know what I mean? You have to learn those skill sets. And that's what's missing is guys think they have skills because they've learned things from the internet. And then they can regurgitate stuff because they watched some stuff on YouTube, but they're not really actually taking action. And that's the biggest problem. You know what I mean? And
the number one thing that pisses me off of guys is like, oh yeah, I'm just doing some research. I'm like, no, you're not. You're being a fucking nerd. You need to go and talk to women in real world. And it's going to be messy. You're going to fail the first 100 times, most likely.
Right.
Or
it doesn't matter.
Or you're going to end up alone. Like that's it. These are your paths. And I just have to be cut and dry with everybody. If you're not talking to girls on a regular day-to-day basis, right? The ROI on that is so astronomically high because for me, right, I talk to everybody everywhere I go. I remember I was on a date with a girl and we were in the elevator and, you know, we were in Hawaii and then this older lady walked in that I was talking to earlier in the day. And the older lady was so happy to see me. She's like, hey, how have you been? She's like, you look so nice. I was like, I knew you were coming. so I want her to dress up. You know, just being on the spot, instant charming to people in life where there's no upside for you to be nice. You're just being a nice guy, and you know you're doing it from a position of strength, not like supplicating. Oh, hey man, don't worry, you're not supplicating. It's such a DHV. It's such women love a guy who can control a room socially, just like they can if they wanted to.
Right.
And they like it when you're even better than them. When you're like, well, like sit down, sweetheart. Let me fucking show you how I run the show. Right. That is extremely attractive to women as well. But a lot of guys, you know, they just I don't know, they're afraid of their own shadows. Like they're afraid to like level up and step up. And
right. And the people who are most afraid of that are oftentimes younger guys, which comes back to our full circle to our topic. You know what I mean?
Life has experience, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, and that's, and the message is this, like, when I put this stuff out and, you know, I got the receipts to prove it. I mean, the last decade now, every girl I've been with is in her 20s, you know. I mean, it's just the way, and I'm going on 3 years now with my girlfriend, who's an award-winning
already.
Yeah. And she's won awards for modeling. She's absolutely gorgeous. And so like, and she's 20 years younger than I am, you know what I mean? And she's attracted, part of her attraction to me is because I'm older, and it's not because of the number. It's just being older brings a whole bunch of traits to the table that she finds attractive. And the reason for this is not to tell guys who they should date. If you're 47 like me, you can date somebody younger than you. You can date somebody your same age. I don't care. I just want you guys to be happy and to be dating the caliber of woman that you would want to date. And that could mean, I'm not putting an age thing on it, because there's plenty of beautiful women at older ages too than in their 20s, and there's advantages to being with those women. So I'm not like, that's not the reason for this and me coming out with my video I did like a week ago on this. The reason for this is because, again, guys think, oh, I'm a certain age now, so I'm not attractive. And that is just fundamentally not true across the board, you know? And then the messages for younger guys, it's like, not to worry so much, because number one is it actually gets easier as your skills develop and your value increases. If you're like a 22-year-old guy right now who's, you know, just kind of has this job, he's trying to figure life out, he's struggling with women, don't get down on yourself, because it gets easier. If you're 22, 23, 24, when you're 34, your S&V, as far as your looks, hasn't gone down, it's gone up at that point. And then you've had 10 years of being able to increase your value. So as long as you don't end up with a drug problem or an alcohol problem and destroy your life, as long as you're focused on developing and getting better, you got the world, you know, on a platter, really. You know what I mean? And you're going to do better with women. You got to learn the skills, though, not just, you know, sit back and do nothing. But if you learn the skills, you're going to be fine. And that's the message, really.
I think a lot of guys are all worried about getting with the younger girls too. Like, oh, I really want the super young, you know, the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You say that till you hang out with them.
Yeah. And I want a disclaimer. I actually don't recommend a guy unless he's under the age of 25. I do not recommend a guy getting with somebody under 21. It's a brain development thing. You're going to bring yourself a huge headache as it is. You know what I mean? And potentially damage the girls. So it's just not worth it. There's plenty of hot girls who are 22. You don't need the 18-year-old. You're opening the door for a lot of potential problems there, because they're just not mature. And this isn't the freaking, 400 years ago, right? Like, this is like 2025. So, we live to be 85, 90 years old now. You don't need to get with an 18-year-old. You can get with a 22-year-old and be just fine. But my point in this is, though, too, is that, like, okay, these girls, there's scientific reasons why they're attracted to older guys. It comes down to genetics, too. Like, for a long time in our history, what attracts men to women? So what attracts men to women is fertility signals. which means usually a girl who's younger, you know, who's at peak fertility and has good fertility, which means she's under 30. So like signs of youthfulness, which is what girls are going for when they put makeup on, and when a girl's, you know, when a lady is 45 years old and she's getting herself done up with makeup and stuff, right? Or she's getting Botox. What is she doing? She's removing signs of aging, because fertility is what makes us attracted. And those fertility signals, you know what I mean? To include a nice butt, good breasts, hip to waist ratio, all those things, right? And good genetic qualities. But fertility is a big part of it. For women, it's genetic fitness. So it's not fertility per se, because even a guy past, you know, our sperm count goes down a little bit, but it doesn't really, it's inconsequential for most men in terms of being able to impregnate somebody. And so like, it's really genetic fitness. Well, when a guy's in his 50s and he's got good testosterone levels, and that's demonstrated by his physical appearance, and he has a good physical experience, which means he took care of himself, but he has some of those signs of aging, that makes him more attractive, because what it demonstrates is that he was genetically fit enough to make it that far and to be in good physical condition. So the evolutionary part of her brain says, okay, that's good sperm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For most of our histories, people were dead at age 30 from some accident or tetanus or something, right? And so like people didn't last as long as we last today. So if a guy was in the tribal times in his 40s or 50s, he demonstrated genetic fitness, and he usually, if he had resources too, he usually had a harem of women. You know what I mean? He usually had like, you know, the older men of the tribe, especially the warrior types and stuff, depending on what culture you're going into, had younger women. You know what I mean? Had in certain cultures, and back in harem days, had multiple wives. So this is part of our genetic history. Women dating upward to older men. It wasn't just about money. It was about genetic fitness. And if the guy is a dominant guy, because you look at even resources, a guy who owned the castle, you know what I mean, or who owned or who was in charge of the tribe, was usually the genetically, physically fit more guy too, because he had to fight his way to get there in a lot of those parts of our history. So when a girl sees a guy who's dominant, confident, and physically attractive but older, generally she's picking that guy more than she would pick his younger self. I've had, I mean, my girlfriend, but I've had other people say too, they look at old pictures of me where I think I was kind of better looking. They're like, nope, you're better looking now. Like hands down. And in the aging characteristics, even with aging characteristics, do you know what I mean? Like they still find me more attractive now than I was 20 years ago. And so that's an important thing that it's not being talked about. And we have to understand too, like there is a gynocentric social order still. We have to appease 35 to 55-year-old women, or else you're in trouble. This is in academia too. You know what I mean? And so 40-year-old women don't like it when a 40-year-old guy dates a 25-year-old. They tend to shame that guy, have all kinds of things to say.
It's so wild how I saw a lawyer. Actually, I should show you. I'm still getting hate comments to this day because I left something on I just casually left something on an Instagram, and it's some troll, and it's always some old woman, some hag that's whining about this. You know, it's never some bombshell young babe like, let me tell you something.
Yeah, no, it never is.
Men coming after me with her cigarette voice.
Yeah, you hear who's not, who's not objecting to the idea are the 20-something-year-old women. The ones who are objecting to the idea are the older women who are past their prime and who are frustrated with the dating market, because older women who are happy with a husband, you don't hear from them either about it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like this idea of like, oh, it's this predatory thing. No, it's not. These younger girls are seeking out guys who are older a lot of times. Do you know what I mean? And so it's not something, but I say this because
let me show you. Let me show you this. Let me show you this thing real quick. I wanna get this off my chest because I've been suffering in silence tolerating this. But listen to the cope of, because this ties in exactly what you were saying, right? Here she is, you know, some miserable hag. She's a divorce lawyer.
Pretty happy as it is right there. That's a really good happy face.
Yeah.
I know. That's
Let me know if you can hear it. Okay.
So many men in their 40s.
Oh,
yeah, I can.
Want a younger woman. So I think we've all seen the middle-aged man who divorces his wife and suddenly he pops up with someone 15 years younger, or the guy who starts cheating with a woman that's half his age. As a divorce lawyer, I see this happen all the time. And I can tell you that it's not just about looks. For a lot of men, their 40s hit like a midlife crisis. They start feeling old, irrelevant, and ordinary. And instead of dealing with all of that, they go for the easiest ego boost that there is, a younger woman who makes them feel powerful again. You see, their wife knows them too well. She's seen him sick, she's seen him stressed, she's seen him insecure, and she's not impressed by the same tricks anymore. But a younger woman, she has not seen him at his worst. She laughs at his jokes, thinks his job is impressive, tells him he looks so good for his age, and suddenly he feels 10 years younger. But here's the thing. A lot of these men eventually realize the hard way that trading in a life partner for a fantasy does not always work out. Because once the excitement wears off, they are still the same man with the same problems. The only difference? Now they've lost the one person who actually knew them and stuck around anyway. Why do so
such a bitter undertone from that?
Well, here's what's funny about that, right?
Let me show you the comment to the chat real quick. This is the comment. I just wrote this and I said, why is it always older women complaining about this and automatically insult the intelligence of younger women? And then 123 people replied to that. I was just genuinely writing a question out.
That's hilarious. It is. Well, what's funny about that too is maybe if the guy's wife looked at him and said and thought he would say and treat him like he looked good for his age and was impressed with what he's doing and showed him respect and acted like he was the good guy that he is and appreciated him, maybe he wouldn't be talking to the 20-something-year-old girl who does all of those things. Like they never think of that shit. Most guys have an attachment to their wives and wanting to take care of them.
Yeah.
And if that woman is taking care of him, meaning making him feel good, showing desire, respect, admiration, and showing that through her actions to include inside the bedroom as well as outside the bedroom, the guy's not shopping for a younger model. You know what I mean? There's a small percentage of really messed up dudes who might, but most guys are not looking for that. Most guys who lost their marriages weren't trying to lose their marriages because their wives are the perfect wives. You know what I mean? They're not showing up, showing desire, admiration, or respect for the guy that they're with. They have zero gratitude for the guy that they're with. So they finally get fed up and they go for a younger model because that younger model is hot and she does all the things his wife's not doing. But they never think, if I did the things.
It's pleasant.
Yeah.
These old women don't realize how unpleasant and bitter they are, and they wear it on their sleeves.
Right. Well, and here's some advice for the older ladies who are not watching the show right now. But if they ever come across this on accident, the advice is do the things that make the guy feel good and make him happy. You know what I mean? Make that a priority. Girls don't even know what the fuck a guy wants. Like a woman in her 40s, most of them have no idea what would make a dude happy. They're all interested in what would make them happy and trying to make losers jumping through hoops to get there. And it's like, that's why the guys who are attractive are not interested in them. The guy, we're simple creatures. We're going to go for the person that makes us feel good. And then we're going to sort of figure out if we can make that work. That's without any sort of forethought. That's what most guys are going to do. So all the women who are past their prime and bitter about it, if they just if they just thought about how can I make this guy feel good and make him happy and make that a priority in my life, they would have abundances of options. Even at 35, 40, 45 years old, they take care of themselves physically, of course. That's important. But if they meet that small benchmark of taking care of themselves physically, all they have to do is be attentive to what a guy wants and then do those things.
Yeah.
But that involves things that are really hard for them, like being feminine. Oh boy. Oh, can't do that. Nope. Can't be feminine because that means I'm not strong and independent and, whatever the fuck nonsense they've been buying into, and so that's the thing. They don't realize that they're the problem and they're the reason. It's not because some guy is going for younger women. Guys just want to go for the woman that's going to make them feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just that there's nothing off the table. If you're a single guy and you're 35 and you're like, oh my gosh, like if I don't wife this girl up who might be borderline personality disorder, I'm never going to, have a good life. I'm getting too old. Like, no, you're not, dude. Like, just relax and get rid of that girl and find a better girl. You'll be fine. You don't have to rush into a commitment. You have to learn the skills so you learn how to get better quality of women and have better relationship management, and you'll get whatever you want. And if you're a guy listening to this message and you're 65 years old, guess what? It's not too late, have an interesting story on that too. I like to tell it sometimes. Is that
yeah?
Right, so
I just want to give this guy his credit. I've been having his name up,
yeah.
and it's funny. The first thing you notice about him, he's in physically above average shape just by his picture. The Red Bull recruit. I'm 47. My current girl's 28, and it's just easy. Some girls just prefer older guys. It comes down to preference. I mean, yeah, I think if a girl likes you, your age is going to come up regardless.
Yeah,
because she's going to want to know everything about you. But if she likes you, if her age, if your age is a tipping point, then her desire just wasn't that high. It's bottom line.
Right. Well, and so interesting anecdote for guys so like my mom, okay, who's a cool lady, nice lady. I tried to get her to have that affair with Aaron Cleary, but Aaron just didn't have his shit together, so she moved on to a different guy. But Aaron's still my dad. In my heart, though, you know what I mean? Because him and my mom. But anyways, my mom's 75 years old, right? And she met the husband that she's with now a few years ago. She was in her 70s when she met him. Now, my mom classically did not make. She didn't make the worst decisions that somebody could have made, but she didn't make the best decisions. She wasn't really good when it came to dating relationships, as a woman. But as she got older, she's improved different areas, and she ended up meeting this guy. Now, the guy, he never has been married. The guy's the guy's a stud. You know what I mean? He's got resources. He took care of himself. He's done all the things right in his life. And my mom is like, I mean, by all, like, no cap here, because if it's not true, I'm not going to tell it. But my mom is like the love of this dude's life. Like, he couldn't be happier with this woman, and he's in his 70s and she's in her 70s. They couldn't be happier. And they probably got another 10 years left, maybe 15 years left. They're going to live the rest of their days out in happiness. They're out in Florida, out in that little retirement community, playing golf every day, being retired and doing life on their own terms. And they're happy. This guy didn't have to rush into some bad relationship, wife some girl up and do his duty and all that crap to somebody who doesn't appreciate him. When things didn't work out, he left the relationships. You know what I mean? Now, he wasn't, I would say both him and my mom would have maybe met people sooner if they had better skill sets. You know what I mean? Arguably. And so, but they got lucky and they met each other. My point is, if those two can meet each other at 70 and be absolutely happy and live out the rest of their days, you are in not a hurry. You know what I mean? You need to learn the skills. You need to figure out how to do well, but getting down on yourself and feeling like, oh, I'm never going to make it. Whoa, I'm 25. And I got rejected by the 3 girls I talked to in the last 3 months. So, my life's over. Like, stop being a pussy. Like, seriously, just stop. Okay. It drives me crazy. Get in my community, get into John's programs, get into my stuff, start learning better skills, because life is better when you have the skill sets to do it. You know what I mean? And there isn't you're not in a situation where you're hopeless. No matter how hopeless you think you are, you're not. You're just not. It's all up here. You know what I mean? And that's the same with the older guys. You're not hopeless. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I have to stay with this banged up single mom right now because she's pretty and gives me sex sometimes, but she, is a crazy woman and she brings me drama into my life. I better stay with her because I'm 45 and I can't do any better. Bullshit. You can dump her and start doing better tomorrow. Yeah. All you have to do is learn some better skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's all, and the thing is the reason why older guys seem to have it better is just because they've had longer time to accumulate these skills. And again, it's the older guys that have worked on these skills that are standing out, because there is an abundance and a majority of older guys that are not getting attention from younger women. These guys are the outliers. And if you want to be an above average performer in any industry, you need to be focusing on the outliers. I have been low key waiting for like on the edge of my seat. Like, is this the year? Is this the year that the young girls don't give me the time of day? Is this the year that I got to hang up the hat and go, start fishing or something?
No, dude, I get uglier every year and it doesn't change. It's fine. It's fine, dude. I look like the Thing, right? From Marvel Comics, and I still get people like, the attention I get is the same as it was 10 years ago. And I'm in a happy relationship with, somebody that I'm happy with. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't change, dude. As long as you are continuing to work on yourself, what happens is this: your age-related decline that you might get is overcame by other stuff. Dominance, wisdom. Like, my level of dominance has gone up over the years, where, okay, maybe I've had, like, I actually can grow my hair, but it's a bit thinner than it was. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll have to style it a certain way, or I'd have to do like some kinds of hair. I'd have to do a hair system or something to get my hair, which would be fine. I'm not against it, for those who want to do it. It's just not something I care to do, so just shave my head, because the girlfriend I'm with is like, I like the head shave look. I think it looks hotter. So I'm like, cool, that's fine. I get looks and stuff with my head shave. All right, cool. Like, works for me. But as I grow in age, my resources, my ability, my strength and my dominance and my social game, even in my wisdom and stuff like that, my patience, I'm more patient today than I was 10 years ago. I was way more savage and not necessarily the best of ways 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
This guy's 32. What a hopeful conversation. You're still young.
Oh God. Yeah. You're not even, you're barely at prime. And so it just gets, as long as you know how to ignite those emotions in people, which is really those persuasion skills, which comes from your game, but that game is backed up by inner game. You know what I'm saying? And so it's when your inner game is solid, and then you bring that to the table when you have social interactions with people feel good around you. You know what I mean? And as long as people feel good around you, women are going to be attracted to that. And it's a very, very easy transition then to demonstrate interest and then go into progressing something with a particular woman. Very easy,
It's just really, the key is really as crass as it is. It's not being a pussy, not being a pushover. Okay. Having a plan with your life other than get pussy, get girls. I want to get girls. Like, you need to have a purpose to your life, and you should be focusing, in my opinion, on financial growth, prosperity, and excellence, because that's what every man should be focusing on, because that's what guys used to do back in the day, because it is up to us as provider. Doesn't matter alpha, beta, whatever you want to, sigma, mindset people, whatever your Greek letter of choice is. Okay. Mm-hmm. As a man, you need to work on these money skills, because if the finances are going to be above average in a house, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the man who's a breadwinner. Well, and women prefer it that way too. So just get on it.
Yeah. And what it boils down to is this. Here's how I sort of look at SMV is you work on your money skills for you, because nobody else is going to afford you a better life but you. No woman's going to come in and offer you a better life. Nobody else. I mean, you might get lucky if you have a rich grandfather that's going to will you millions of dollars. But okay, so that one guy, you're fine. But everybody else, right? It's like nobody else is going to improve your quality of life but you. And so that's why you need to improve your money. Nobody else is going to keep you healthy and dominant and powerful but you. So you need to build your muscles, go to the gym, think about your health, your physique. Nobody else is going to improve the quality of life and not allow you to get pushed around and not allow you to fall into other people's ideas and social conditioning but you. So that's why you have frame. You know what I mean? And the stuff. So this is not for girls. This is all the things you're doing because nobody is going to do it for you. You want to improve the quality of life overall. You do all those things. Then when you go get the girls, getting the girls is all game. But whether or not the quality is there for your relationships, whether or not that you keep the girls, all of those things, and the quality of life you're going to have with those girls is determined on the other things on that back wall you got there, your money, muscles, frame, right? Your inner game and stuff, which is part of your frame. So it's like you develop those things for you, not for women, but that's what allows you to have a high quality of life. So then when you're dating women and bringing them into your world, you have a nice playground to play in, you know, versus a crack house, right? And so, you know,
no, the crack house days are over.
No
rough
more
patch
crack houses. No more.
We've moved from the crack house to the penthouse, so we're up here.
Right. Play the Jeffersons theme song now.
You know, but look, I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys. But we just wanted to shine some light on this. If you like this collaboration, please leave a comment. We have hosted up to 250 people live on this episode across all platforms. We are thinking about making this a weekly thing. But we just want to be making sure that when we turn on the camera and we are talking to you, you are getting added value to increase the quality of your dating life. And that is, are you getting more sex or not? Bottom line, hold us to that high standard. But you have to take action. You have to implement these things. Not that you flirt with me, I got to make out. If you're trending towards closing, that's good. But we want to know, is this helping you actually get the girl? That's the name of the game. That's what we're good at. And there's nobody better than Paul and I, period. There's nobody better than us. We're going to teach you the nitty gritty because we have had the women with the genuine burning desire for us. You know, we have the end product, which is we can transform you into the guy who dating is not a problem for my life. Dating is not a problem for Paul's life. We have solved this years ago. Okay, there's no problem. Women, at this point, women find me, you know, because that's just the aura you give off. That's just the life you live. But that being said, it's been great being with you guys. Check out Paul's YouTube channel and also check out his Skool. Most importantly, check out his Skool. His Skool account is really...
I'm about to put it in there. I just like...
Yeah, go ahead and put it in there.
Right.
Billy's in the chat. He's there. And he will throw that up. I'm going to try and type it out too right now. It is here on his YouTube channel.
There we go. That works.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Right there. That's the community. It is the apexmindset.org Skool. And yeah, man, it's good stuff to be here with you again. It's been a while, man. It's been too long, quite frankly.
Right.
That's going to do it for us. We're going to be back live today. We're going to be back live tomorrow with the Tokyo Crypto Show because the markets have blown up in the last 3 to 4 days. Shocking to quite a few members of the research team, myself included. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow here live on the channel. That is the clickable link right there. One click, you're there. apexmindset.org/Skool, Skool. I am in there as well. So if you want to send a message to me, but Paul and I, moving forward, we are going to be building in tandem and we are going to be continuing to do what we do, which is help you guys fix your dating lives get more sex. That's what this channel is for. It's not for drama. It's not for fighting, not for gossip. Do you want to get better at dating and have sex with more girls? Yes or no? Yes. Hit the like, comment, subscribe. Stay here. No. I don't know why you're here, but thanks for supporting. But yeah, until then, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.